Harry's literally said he can't go through this again. But as ever, what are we talking about? Morning, Neil, Sean here, nice to see you. I hope you'll have a quick wave. Of course you know I am. If you are a regular on this show, why did I say that? It's the heat. That's what I will say, it is the heat. A full summer's day here in the beautiful gardens at the Royal York Hotel in the beautiful city, medieval city of York. If you are coming to visit the United Kingdom, I would recommend this. So much history, but apparently, this is what they were saying on the tour. I find this fascinating. Apparently all the pubs in York all claim one thing. Yes, apparently they all claim to be the most haunted pub in the city. And you know, when you think about it, I mean, there's so, you know, you go around and you hear these stories. There's so many bodies buried on things that we've now consecrated ground, all that sort of stuff. And you think, no, you know, we're literally walking on history, as I often say here on the show. Wonderful place, though, as I say, lots to see. If you love your history, this is definitely a place to visit. And, you know, I would thoroughly recommend it. And on a day like today, when you see it in the beautiful splendour of course, the sunshine, isn't it gorgeous? Back as ever, though, to your royal story of the day. This particular thing shocked a lot of people, not just because, of course, Prince Harry turned up to pick up that award for the Pat Tillman thing, and the fact that he virtually hijacked the people to stand on stage with him. He was a bag of nerves, there's no two ways about it, and rightly so when you think, because the backlash was phenomenal, I'm sure you'll agree. What I found fascinating about this whole story was the fact that, though, he decided that he was going to stay and literally, you know, make sure he got up to collect it. He thoroughly believed, apparently, that that was his due. You know, he thought, well, people want me to do that, why shouldn't I? Backlash didn't really stop there, because according to a very well-placed source, Harry seemingly just had something of a meltdown. So much so that, according to that source, therapists were, you know, much in attendance for the following few days, as ever, allegedly. Now, we know Harry loves a therapist. I mean, if you remember, he sold a therapy session online with a therapist that you could pay, I think it was about £20 to hear this guy waffle on and tell Prince Harry the problems that he'd had. And Harry at the end delightedly said, oh great, a free therapy session. He's also pointed out that members of his family should have therapy altogether, in fact, because he feels that this will be the way forward for repairing those relationships. You understand? But behind the scenes of this ESPN Awards, it was an absolute disaster, because Harry apparently a few days later felt that, you know, he couldn't go through that again. And by that, what I mean is the absolute backlash. He'd never known such a sort of, how shall we say, recourse back to him. He'd always had these things delivered on a plate, people gushing, people liking him, and more importantly for him, of course, nobody questioning at all whether it be his speech. He was particularly upset that nobody actually referenced his speech and the fact that he wanted that to be the focal point, and according to him, not, of course, the person picking up the award. But everybody really was shocked to see just how nervous he looked, how unsure he looked, and more importantly, behind the scenes, how he had something of a mini breakdown. Now, for Harry himself, it's going to be interesting, because he's got other things to do. And by showing that sort of weakness, particularly in an event like that, what's supposed to be celebrating you, of course, you're going to have problems. The bigger problem, though, for Harry is he says he can't cope with something like that again and doesn't want to go through with something like that again. But the way that he's going with the endless reports and the endless, of course, docus and interviews and stuff like that, well, sadly for him, it's definitely going to be returning again and again. Neil Sean in the very heart of York.